Our world is filled with ancient monuments built by people in order to honor everything from kings and queens to gods. While most of these ruins have been carefully studied and researched by scientists and historians, some are simply so old, incomplete, or obscure that we still don't know very much about why they were built or what purpose they served. So, join us for today's video as we're going to explore 15 of the most mysterious ancient monuments, starting with number 15, Temple of the Moon. The Temple of the Moon is an extraordinary yet often ignored Inca site in Peru. It's overlooked mainly due to its closeness to Machu Picchu, which pulls most of the attention. That's sad, because the site holds plenty of ancient mysteries. At its core is a stone-carved throne, seemingly made for someone unknown. There's even speculation that it may have been crafted for a mummy, not a living ruler. The temple dates back around 1,500 years, but wasn't officially noted by archaeologists until 1936. The craftsmanship is remarkable for its time, including tall, double-jamb stone doorways and depictions of the three realms the Inca believed in: the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. There are also false doorways that lead nowhere. The reason for this remains unclear, just like the purpose of the temple itself. The name Temple of the Moon is modern. We don't even know what the Inca called it, let alone what it was used for. Number 14, Balandran Pyramid. While Egypt holds the crown for ancient pyramids, not all pyramids have grand origins. The Balandran Pyramid in Australia is a perfect example. Though it might resemble a sacred tomb or forgotten monument, the 45-foot structure was built for no other reason than amusement. Made of roughly 7,500 tons of leftover granite from a nearby construction project, the pyramid's true age and builder remain unknown. Nobody has recorded when it was constructed or by whom, adding just enough mystery to stir speculation. Some suggest it could represent a star chart, others say it may have functioned as a symbolic monument, but most agree it's simply a pile of granite shaped with intentional effort. Despite its humble purpose, the pyramid's size and symmetry make it stand out. The lack of documentation fuels curiosity. It may not be ancient, but the unanswered questions surrounding it give it a sense of depth most modern structures never achieve. Number 13, Chaco Canyon. Chaco Canyon holds the most complete collection of ancient ruins in North America. Located in New Mexico, the site spans 9 miles of canyon floor and includes massive architectural feats constructed by the ancestral Pueblo people. Pueblo Bonito alone covers 2 acres, rises 4 stories high, and contains 650 distinct rooms. Some researchers argue that the complex was never intended for habitation. The rooms lack corridors, natural light, and chimneys, which casts doubt on the idea that people lived there. However, the structures align precisely with astronomical events, revealing a deep understanding of celestial cycles. These weren't random stone piles. Each building was positioned with intention. Chaco Canyon's sheer size wasn't rivaled anywhere on the continent until the 1800s, almost a millennium after its abandonment. Whether it was a ceremonial center, pilgrimage site, or something else entirely remains up for debate. But one thing is certain: Chaco Canyon was built with purpose and vision, which we can't understand. Number 12, Kemune. The Mitanni remains one of ancient Mesopotamia's most obscure civilizations. What little we do know comes mostly from secondary sources, mainly the Egyptians and the Assyrians. Here are the essential details we've gathered. The Mitanni were active for roughly 2 centuries, between 1500 and 1300 BC. They spoke Hurrian, a now extinct tongue, and ruled from Huaca, a capital whose exact location is still unknown. At their peak, they were serious contenders to Egypt's dominance, though the two also allied briefly to counter the Hittites. Their last likely king, Shatuara II, went to war and lost against Shalmaneser I of Assyria, after which Mitanni became part of the Assyrian Empire. Fortunately, our understanding may grow through the excavation of Kemune, where a Mitanni palace once stood. Though the site was discovered in 2010, it wasn't accessible until the 2018 drought lowered the Mosul Dam's waters. Only then could archaeologists begin examining the submerged ruins and unlocking their buried secrets. Number 11. The Longyou Caves. For countless years, villagers in Xi'an-Bacon, Longyou County, Zhejiang, claimed the nearby ponds had no bottom. In 1992, a few locals decided to investigate. They pooled funds, rented a pump, and drained one. What they revealed wasn't a pond at all, but a submerged, man-made sandstone chamber. As they continued, more hidden caverns were uncovered, 24 in total, covering over 320,000 square feet. Now called the Longyou Caves, they date back over 2,000 years, yet they're not mentioned in any surviving historical texts. Constructing them would have been a colossal feat. Experts estimate that over 35 million cubic feet of rock had to be removed. Even more perplexing, the walls are marked by tight, consistent chisel lines, far more labor-intensive than using blunt tools like pickaxes. And still, no one knows who carved them or why. Despite their scale and precision, no documentation or evidence has surfaced to explain their creation. The Longyou Caves remain one of China's enduring archaeological riddles. Number 10. The Taulas of Menorca. Most people have heard of Stonehenge, but fewer know that the island of Menorca, off Spain's coast, has its own mysterious monuments, massive stone structures called taulas. Erected by the Talayots, Menorca's early inhabitants, these megaliths date from the 2nd millennium BC and remained until the Romans took the island in 123 BC. When rediscovered, only the vertical stones of the taulas were visible. Locals used them as benches or tables, which is how they got their name. Taula, meaning table in Catalan. Their purpose is still debated. Some scholars believe they had ceremonial or spiritual significance. Others suggest they were astronomical markers, possibly aligning with the Centaurus constellation. German archaeologist Waldemar Fenn even proposed they were used to track lunar cycles. While these ideas are intriguing, none are confirmed. Without written records or additional clues, the taulas remain one of the most carefully engineered and unexplained relics of the ancient Western Mediterranean. Number 9. New England Mysterious Stone Enclosures. In New England, odd stone enclosures scatter the countryside. Most people pass by them without a second thought, but they weren't built at random. While some resemble ancient structures, most were town pounds, livestock holding pens used between the 17th and 19th centuries. When animals strayed and grazed on public land, they were corralled into these stone enclosures. Owners had 3 days to claim them by paying a fine. If no one showed up, the animals were auctioned off. The word pound often appears carved into nearby stones, revealing their original purpose. Still, some of these structures are far older and might not have served as livestock pens at all. The designs vary widely, and a few have alignments that suggest spiritual or calendrical intent. While it's tempting to lump them all under the same label, New England's stone circles tell a more complicated story. It doesn't explain every stone wall out there. Number 8. Montejo de Tiermes. In Spain, Montejo de Tiermes is all that remains of a once thriving Celtiberian town, a hilltop stronghold carved into rock and later transformed by Roman hands. Originally made during the Iron Age, the town served as a vital defense against Roman encroachment. The Numantine people held out until the 2nd century BCE, when Rome finally seized the site. After expelling the indigenous occupants, the Romans left their mark. Aqueducts, dual forums, and sprawling civic structures. They reused the rock-hewn shelters, adorning entrances with Roman architectural elements to make them feel more familiar. By 70 BCE, Tiermes had grown into a fully integrated Roman city, protected by a stone wall that kept it inhabited for another 4 centuries. Artifacts from both Visigothic and Islamic periods suggest brief later occupations, though none as long-lasting. Today, Montejo de Tiermes stands as a stone-carved blend of resistance, conquest, and adaptation, quietly telling the story of those who fought, lost, and transformed the land. Number 7. Teotenango. If someone claims to be an expert on Teotihuacan, don't buy it. There simply isn't enough proof to support that kind of confidence. What we do know is that they built the fortified city of Teotenango in Tenango del Valle, which still partially stands on the outskirts of Toluca. Historians can't pinpoint when the city was first built or when it was abandoned, though it likely predates the fall of Teotihuacan around the year 900. Some theories suggest Teotenango was settled by former Teotihuacan residents who later mixed with the Otomi people, an idea supported by the city's blend of architectural influences. Since the 1960s, excavations have uncovered a Mesoamerican ball court, pyramids, exotic animal carvings like jaguars, and human remains linked to ritual sacrifice. The Aztecs later took control in the 13th century and held it until the Spanish conquest in 1550. Teotenango remains a layered historical puzzle, one that's still far from solved. Number 6. The Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Though Malta is a small island nation, its history stretches back around 8,000 years. Among its ancient sites, few are as captivating or strange as the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Just a few miles from Valletta, this underground labyrinth of chambers, passages, and halls was carved into limestone roughly 6,000 years ago. Over time, it was expanded into a sacred complex with a temple and a burial chamber and remained in use for millennia. By definition, a hypogeum is an underground tomb, and Malta's certainly fits. Excavations uncovered the bones of over 7,000 people. But the real mystery lies in the oracle room, an oblong chamber with acoustically engineered niches. Any sound in this space resonates intensely through the entire structure. Some believe the room hosted an oracle, similar to Delphi. One researcher noted that deep male chanting could echo for 8 seconds and produce vibrations felt physically, possibly triggering illusions. For ancient worshippers, it likely felt otherworldly. Number 5. Huaca Limón de Úcupe. Before the Inca Empire emerged, the Moche civilization thrived in what's now Peru. Established around 2,000 years ago, they vanished by the 8th century. Historians still debate their downfall. Some cite Super El Niño events, others suspect major quakes, outside invasions, or internal shifts. The Moche didn't leave behind a writing system, so most of what we know comes from their stunning pottery and gold craftsmanship. Their architectural legacy lives on in Huacas, monumental adobe structures still standing today. In 2018, a team digging near Huaca Limón de Úcupe made a striking discovery. 2 ceremonial banquet halls. One featured 2 thrones placed directly across from each other, likely where a Moche leader dined with a high-status guest. But the site wasn't just for feasts. Archaeologists also found human remains. Based on iconography and past finds, it's clear that the Moche practiced ritual sacrifice, and it was bad. Number 4. Carnac. Carnac is a coastal town in Brittany, northwestern France, widely recognized for its beaches and its otherworldly megalithic field. Scattered across 3 vast alignments are more than 3,000 standing stones, known as menhirs, all erected during the Neolithic period. These ancient stones stretch in long, silent rows, with the tallest positioned in the west, gradually shrinking in height as they progress east. No written record explains their purpose. Were they used for celestial tracking, sacred rituals, territorial markers? No one knows. Archaeologists have studied the site for decades, yet its original meaning remains concealed in time. What elevates Carnac into legend is precisely this. Its scale defies explanation. The stones feel intentional, not random, each one placed with precision. This is the largest concentration of menhirs anywhere on Earth, and yet the minds behind it and their motive are lost. It's less a monument and more a riddle. Number 3, Palenque. Palenque, once called La Cama, or Big Water, was a thriving Maya city-state in what is now Chiapas, southern Mexico. Its height came in the 7th century, during a golden age of Mayan ingenuity. The Maya left behind masterful temples and pyramids, a sophisticated writing system, and an almost eerie understanding of celestial patterns. And yet, their most haunting legacy is absence. Before European conquerors ever stepped foot on the continent, Palenque, along with dozens of other Mayan cities, was already silent. The jungle reclaimed its grandeur, but no one truly knows why. Environmental collapse, internal upheaval, plague. The theories are many, but none are certain. What we do know is this. The structures still standing today seem frozen in time, like remnants of a vanished world that slipped away without warning. Palenque is not just an archaeological site, it's a ghost city, a place where every stone seems to guard secrets. Number 2, the Georgia Guidestones. While most ancient monuments became mysterious with time, the Georgia Guidestones were enigmatic from the very beginning. Nicknamed America's Stonehenge, the structure consists of 4 vertical granite slabs topped by a horizontal capstone. Commissioned in 1979 by a man calling himself R.C. Christian, the monument was constructed with unusual precision. One slit aligns with the solstices and equinoxes. A narrow hole permanently points toward the North Star. Inscribed in 8 different languages are 10 rules, both poetic and jarring. Some lines urge peace and truth. Others demand global population control and ecological harmony. To some, it's a spiritual manifesto. To others, a chilling prophecy. The mystery deepens with the anonymity of its backers. No one has ever come forward. The man who paid for it disappeared into history. Sadly, it was damaged by an explosive device, and now it is permanently closed. Number 1, the Nilometer of Cairo. Predicting floods or droughts in ancient Cairo wasn't a luxury, it was essential for survival. With no satellite imaging or forecasting, ancient Egyptians relied on a tool called the Nilometer. This massive stone structure still stands today and could easily serve its original function if needed. Of the 3 Nilometers that still exist in Cairo, this is the most elaborate, featuring an octagonal marble column at the center, surrounded by a staircase for priests to descend. It's believed the Nilometer was first introduced to the city about 5,000 years ago. By observing the Nile's water level on specific dates, priests could determine whether the river would overflow, run dry, or reach an ideal height. That knowledge was passed up the chain to city officials and ultimately to the pharaoh. Only priests and high-ranking officials had access to it. Evidently, information about the Nile's behavior was treated as state intelligence, not public knowledge. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.